Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about one of the most insane theories in all of Game of Thrones and why fans claim that Bran Stark equals the Night King theory has been confirmed to come true. Let's first take a look on this popular theory. It says that at some point we will arrive at the end of Game of Thrones, and probably many deaths will take place. That's when Bran Stark, son of Eddard Stark, decides he'll travel back in time and try to stop the Night King, his army, and the events from taking place. When the three-eyed raven says you will never walk again but you will fly, he means through time, and not only walking a dragon like many fans believe. There was a reason Jojen Reed, who also had a green sight and knew even more things about it than Bran, did not become the three-eyed raven himself. The reason is that Bran is even more powerful than both Jojen and the three-eyed raven, Bran in reverse in the way that he has both green sight and the ability to warg. With this combination, Bran is even able to affect the past by warging into Villas, and eventually making him become hotter, which proves the ink is dry. He also gains his father's attention outside the Tower of Joy, and even gets touched by the Night King in one of his green sights. Bran believes he is eventually, with more knowledge, going to be able to rewrite history, and that's why he decides to go back and stop the Night King several times, but fails every time, ending up fulfilling the timeline circle and taking the identity of the Night King himself. The first time he tries to prepare the Mad King for the White Walkers and makes him, through the same whisper method used to get Ned's attention, prepare wildfire under King's Landing, where the White Walkers attack. This attack is in the future for us viewers. But Bran fails as the Mad King goes crazy from the whispers and instead tries to burn the city. The second time, Bran goes even more beyond back in time. As he learns his abilities, he's able to go longer and longer back in time to try to discover how the others were defeated the first time. He fails again and instead succeeds to become Bran the Builder, building the wall and securing his birth by building Winterfell and creating the words "There must always be a Stark in Winterfell." The last time, Bran goes back all the way to where the Night King was created, to warg into a human that later is going to become the Night King, or maybe even try to kill the children of the forest. He wargs into him instead of stopping Dragonlance into the Heart event from happening, or maybe in his attempt to kill the children he gets chosen as the vessel for the Night King. Only he does not think of that the children of the forest will not recognize him from the future, and that they at that point are in war with the first man. He is gagged because all of the weird future talk. When he realized he failed again, he tries to go back in the current timeline, but can't because he's too deep into the past and stayed too long. It's beautiful beneath the sea, stay too long and you drown. From here, Bran gets stuck in the past, exactly as Brian and Jojen warn him not to, and becomes the Night King. With the combination of the children's magic and Bran's power, he becomes the villain instead of the hero he tried to be, resulting in turning against the children for creating him, and getting stuck behind the magical wall he later builds as Bran the Builder. Immortal as he is, he waits for himself to be born thousands of years later, knowing when and where he has to be to mark the young Bran, personally kill the three-eyed raven for hiding the truth about what would happen with him, and eventually being able to destroy the wall with Viserion. The reason he doesn't kill Jon and instead observe him at Hardhome will be covered in the end, and it's most likely because he knows only Jon can kill him. The Night King is Bran, and he's marching south to kill the actual Bran, so that Bran doesn't go back and become the Night King, because Bran going back is what made Bran become the Night King. You can actually see in the scene where young Bran goes back to the creation of the Night King, that when the children push the dragonglass into his heart, we see Bran tighten his grip on his veins, just as is himself experiencing the pain. Also, at the end of the flashback, Bran is laying in the exact same position in the cave as the human pushed up to the trees. This theory also parts with Jon Snow being the prince that was promised, who eventually has to kill his little brother Bran, giving us a bittersweet ending. The first time fans started claiming this theory was confirmed is when Game of Thrones stars were posing with miniature versions of themselves on official Game of Thrones Instagram profile. An actor who plays Bran Stark posed with the Night King miniature, leaving fans convinced that it's a huge hint of him actually being the Night King. Many fans were commenting, "Bran spoiler, why is Bran holding the Night King, Bran the Night King spoiler alert, etc, etc. Now, I'm not saying this theory will not come true, but this photo most definitely is not hinting it coming true as many fans claim. In the series of photos, there's also an actress who plays Missandei holding Drogon, and Sophie Turner holding Ramsay miniature. Does that mean Missandei is Drogon or Sansa is Ramsay? No, and therefore this photo of Isaac Wright holding the Night King means nothing and hints nothing. Not saying the theory is not going to come true, just saying this photo is not hinting it, not to say confirming it. New wave of fans claiming the Bran Stark equals the Night King confirmed came up in the recently released Season 8 tease in which fans noticed Bran's absence. Fans immediately started claiming it means that the popular theory is now finally confirmed, with many commenting on the official tease Bran is the Night King confirmed. Do I think it's been confirmed? Definitely not confirmed, maybe hinted, but most probably not even that. The teaser revolves around the Stark family, so Bran's exclusion is curious and could definitely point to a couple of different theories about this character's part in the endgame. Bran's absence could also hint at him not surviving the coming battles, instead dying alongside the Night King and his army. Or if we want to remain optimistic, we can speculate that the three-eyed raven dies, but Bran, as he once was, lives to see the spring. However, most fans claim that Bran's absence point out of him being the Night King. In my opinion, Bran not being in the Stark tease is representing symbolism. The tease has a lot of symbolism. Let's take a look at some of those symbolisms and what they can tell us about what's to come in the final season. The significance of the Crypts. The Crypts of Winterfell is an ideal setting for the final season trailer, with the location being full of significance for the Starks. It's there that the Starks are buried, and the kings in the north and lords of Winterfell are honored with statues. It's appeared a few times throughout the show's run, almost always for a scene that looks towards the past. This alone tells us that the final season will be shifting a lot of focus back to the Starks. They are how this story started, so it's fitting it ends with them as well. The Crypts may be a place that's full of death, but it also speaks to the importance of family above all else, something the Starks need to remember now more than ever. Jon might even learn the truth behind his parentage in the Crypts. This teaser also symbolizes winter coming to Winterfell. While the teaser mostly focuses on the Starks, it ends with a palpable sense of dread. As the cold winds blow, the Crypts start frosting over, heralding the arrival of winter at Winterfell. Not winter as in the season, which has already come, but as in the undead. The season 7 finale ended with the Night King using Viserion to break down the wall, and the army of the dead is making their slow march of doom towards the Stark homestead. Winterfell then is going to play home to some White Walkers and Whites, although it's fair to assume they won't be protected by guest right. Winterfell is going to be a setting for the biggest battle the series has ever done, which will see Jon and company battling the Night King's army, and this serves as a nice little tease of that coming fight. Then we have the feather. In this teaser trailer, Lyanna's statue is holding a feather that floats out of her hand when Jon walks by. The first time we see this feather is in Season 1, when Robert Baratheon places it on Lyanna's statue. It appears again in Season 5 when Sansa visits her aunt's resting place. We later see Sansa wearing the feather on her sleeve during a scene with Miranda. What became of the adornment afterwards is unknown, but symbolically the feather is important to Sansa as well as Jon. It plays into the bird imagery in both characters' arcs. Jon, formerly of the Night's Watch, was called a crow, and Sansa has been called Little Bird or Little Dove, and feathers were a prominent piece in her costume as Elaine Stone. If we are to assume that the feather is symbolic of Jon's true parentage, its fall in the new teaser represents the reveal of that secret in Season 8. Sansa's safekeeping in Season 5 could have foreshadowed a reunion with Jon and the relationship afterwards. She kept the North loyal to him in his absence, and will likely do the same once his Targaryen bloodline becomes known. In Season 7, the Stark banner made it clear that they would not abide Targaryen rule. So just as Sansa appeased them in Season 7, she'll be instrumental in ensuring their continued loyalty to him when they learn Jon is not Ned Stark's son after all. The next are statues of Jon, Arya and Sansa, which hints at their fates. Each of the Starks that appeared in the teaser gets a statue, and each statue contains details that can be read into. How I see it is that these statues of Jon, Sansa and Arya are their actual statues after their death. However, not all of them will die in Season 8. And not all of these statues will be seen during Season 8. Just take a look at Jon's statue. Jon Snow gets to grow old, or at least a bit older than he currently is. Given how deadly the final season is going to be, the idea this teaser is telling us Jon survives is a big deal. He has already died once after all, and this is his story above all others. If this teaser foreshadows something, it's that Jon Snow will survive the Game of Thrones and live until the very old age. While Jon's statue looks old, Arya's is young. Although the stonework is still a little off, she definitely looks to be around the same age as Arya is now, which is not exactly happy foreshadowing. The most obvious point here is that it means Arya dies in Season 8. That's not much of a stretch to imagine, since Arya will be on the battlefield fighting against the White Walkers, so her life is very much a risk. And if she were to die, it's fitting that her remaining siblings would want to honor her with a statue, despite her not being a queen or lady, much like Ned did with his sister. There's another, slightly more optimistic meaning. Optimistic in a sense that she doesn't die at least. Arya had trained with the Faceless Man, so this could instead suggest she leaves her Arya face behind, taking on various new identities for what remains of her life. The trouble with that is it betrays her arc over the last couple of seasons, which were all about her reclaiming her identity. But it could be about finding a balance between being Arya and being a Faceless Man. Last we come to Sansa's statue, which again looks roughly the same age as the character does now, although she could be a little older. What's most interesting about Sansa in this teaser is that both the living version and statue are placed in the middle of Jon and Arya. In death, they're flanking her side. In life, they're drawing their swords, ready to protect her. That could quite simply be down to the fact that she's their sister, doesn't have a weapon and is not a trained fighter like they are. But the way it's framed, and in interests of some speculation with her in the middle and slightly behind the others, is very much how you'd see people protecting their queen. Once the war is done, we'll see Sansa take on the role of Queen in the North, either bestowed upon her by Jon, who'd have a different throne awaiting him anyway. Finally, we come to Bran Stark and what his absence might symbolize. If majority of fans turn out to be correct, then this absence symbolizes him being the Night King, but in my opinion it symbolizes him not being Bran Stark. In my opinion, the reason Bran is not in this tease is because he's not a Stark anymore. He's not Bran Stark as he said himself in Season 7. Bran is fully the Three-Eyed Raven. There's no sign of Bran anywhere in this teaser, but then that just serves as a reminder or even a confirmation that Bran is not a Stark anymore. He was well on his way to fully become the Three-Eyed Raven in Season 7, telling Mira he wasn't really Bran. Now this teaser doesn't have a statue of him in the crypts. He's not a Stark anymore. Bran's burden is now to live on forever, seeing all things as the previous Three-Eyed Raven did before him until someone kills him. It should come in very handy for the Battle of Ice and Fire, but might suggest a pretty lonely existence beyond that. Then again, I might be wrong, maybe this teaser truly confirmed that Bran Stark is in fact the Night King as many fans claim. The theory itself sounds interesting and there's plenty of hints and clues supporting it. After all, we've been promised the bittersweet ending. Jon would pledge his life for House Stark, ending up killing its last male heir to end the Great War, would surely fulfill that bittersweet ending. Bitter that Jon had to kill Bran Stark, but sweet that the living has won. Westeros is saved and Jon has finally ended Bran's misery. Let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section down below. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.